Welcome to Networks Professionals.
Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're working in tech today, you already know that Kubernetes practically runs the modern cloud. But here's the thing. Knowing about Kubernetes? That's incredibly common. Knowing how to actually build and deploy applications for it? That is a surprisingly rare, highly prized skill. Today, we're embarking on a career quest to master exactly that. Let's set the stage a bit here. Kubernetes has absolutely dominated the industry. It's literally the gold standard for container orchestration across all the heavy hitters. We're talking organizations worldwide using Microsoft, AWS, Google Cloud, and IBM. They all run it in production. So the question isn't really whether you need to know Kubernetes anymore. The real question is, in a hyper-competitive tech market, how do you undeniably prove your skills to those top-tier employers? Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. First, we'll look at our target artifact, which is the CKAD. Next, we'll break down the specific trials of the exam itself. Then, we're going to walk through your preparation roadmap. And finally, we'll uncover the loot, the career and salary payoff waiting for you at the end. All right, Section 1, the artifact. What exactly is the CKAD?
So the artifact you're chasing here is the Certified Kubernetes Application Developer Certification. We just call it the CKAD. It was developed by the Cloud Native Computing Foundation alongside the Linux Foundation, and it's honestly one of the most globally respected cloud-native certifications you can get. What makes it so incredibly powerful is that it's completely vendor-neutral. It strictly validates your ability to design, build, deploy, configure, troubleshoot, and maintain applications on Kubernetes. And that's regardless of whether you're working in AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, or anywhere else.
Now, you might be wondering how this compares to other certs. And what's really interesting about this slide is the contrast. You've probably heard of the CKA, for example, but that focuses heavily on cluster administration, essentially managing the underlying infrastructure. The CKA, though, it strips all of that away to focus purely on application development. It's tailor-made for software developers, DevOps engineers, and platform engineers who want to actually build and deploy code on top of Kubernetes, rather than just managing the servers themselves. Which brings us to Section 2, the trials. Let's break down exactly what this exam looks like because, frankly, it is definitely not your standard test. The very first number you need to burn into your memory is 2. You have exactly 2 hours to complete this trial. And because the CKAD is 100% performance-based, meaning you're solving real tasks on a live Kubernetes cluster using the command line instead of just clicking multiple choice answers, speed is just as crucial as accuracy. Let's be honest, 2 hours goes by awfully fast when you're sweating and frantically trying to troubleshoot a broken YAML file. The next crucial number is 66. To actually conquer this trial, you need a passing score of 66%. Every single task you perform is evaluated based on whether you correctly manipulated those Kubernetes resources. There's zero guessing game here. You either successfully built the deployment and configure the workload, or you didn't.
And finally, 445. The exam fee is $445 US. But hey, here is some fantastic news to put your mind at ease. Under the current policy, that fee actually includes a free retake. So if that intense 2-hour time crunch gets the better of you on your first attempt, you've got a really solid safety net to fall back on. Now, to conquer those tasks, you need to know exactly where to focus your training energy. And this brilliantly illustrates your battle plan. The official curriculum breaks down into 5 specific domains. A massive 25% of your score hinges on application environment, configuration, and security. Then you have 3 domains: app design and build, app deployment, and services and networking, which are all sitting right at 20% each. And finally, app observability and maintenance rounds the whole thing out at 15%.
Let's translate that into the practical requirements you'll actually be tested on. You're going to need to rapidly create multi-container pods, attach persistent volumes, configure ingress routing, and apply security context. You also have to know the basics of Helm and Kustomize. And this is a big one. You'll be troubleshooting real, broken environments. Think diagnosing a dreaded crash loop backoff. Literally everything on this list requires deep, ingrained muscle memory using the command line. Just memorizing theory will absolutely not save you here.
So how do you actually build that muscle memory? Let's move to Section 3, the training ground. Here is your preparation roadmap.
First things first, let's set a realistic timeline based on where you're starting from today. If you're a complete beginner with zero Kubernetes experience, you'll want to give yourself about 3 to 4 months, dedicating an hour or two a day. If you already have an intermediate grasp, you're probably looking at 6 to 8 weeks of focused study. And if you're already an experienced developer, you might only need 2 to 4 weeks of really intense, practice-focused repetition just to get used to the exam's rapid pace.
To hit those timelines, I highly recommend this 5-step actionable path. Step 1. Lock down your Linux, Docker, and basic K8's architecture knowledge. Step 2 is absolutely crucial. Install a local cluster like Minikube or Kind so you have a sandbox to play in. Step 3. Practice those commands every single day. Step 4. Immerse yourself in hands-on labs like Code Cloud. And Step 5. You absolutely must master the killer.sh simulator. Remember that exam fee we mentioned earlier? That purchase actually includes access to the official killer.sh simulator. It's the ultimate training ground to test your speed before the real thing.
All right, now for the absolute best part. Section 4, the loot, also known as the career and salary payoff.
Holding this certification practically unlocks doors across massively booming industries. Fintech, AI, SaaS, healthcare, you name it. Organizations are aggressively hunting for people to fill specific, high-demand roles. We're talking titles like Kubernetes application developer, cloud developer, DevOps engineer, site reliability engineer, and platform engineer. Because you've proven you can actually build the future of cloud-native architecture, your resume is going to jump straight to the top of the pile.
And the compensation aggressively reflects that demand all across the globe. To put it in perspective, in the United States, typical annual salaries range from $100,000 to well over $170,000. In Canada, you're looking at $90,000 to $150,000 Canadian dollars. In the UK, it's £50,000 to £90,000. Germany sees 60 to 100,000 euros. In India, salaries range from 8 to over 30 lakhs per annum, and in the Middle East, 180,000 to 400,000 dirhams. I mean, the return on investment for those 2 hours of high-pressure testing is basically undeniable.
So the crucial point is this. There is a caveat. Getting your CKAD alone does not automatically guarantee these salaries. It's a massive multiplier for your career for sure, but it's exactly that, a multiplier. You still have to back it up with real-world application, continuous learning, and actual hands-on projects out in the wild.
The cloud standard is officially set, folks. Kubernetes is the foundation. So, the final question you really have to ask yourself is this. Are you ready to stop just managing servers and start actually building the future? Get out there, set up that local cluster, and start your CKAD quest today. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I can't wait to see what you build.
Thanks for watching.